And it goes on. Welcome back to Big Silly Goose Gaming. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about the future of, I guess, Nintendo, or what they're working on basically. So I saw something that was kind of like along the lines of like Nintendo's working on some virtual reality stuff. Now, given that the Nintendo Switch 2 just came out this year, it's obviously not going to be now, but they're kind of like, you know what I mean? They're working towards it. That's the idea, is that they have an idea of how creating some sort of a virtual reality system, or some sort of, I guess it's more research and development. They're researching and they're developing a new VR tool to like play video games on. And I always was like, yes, that's definitely a positive, because they already have like all the groundwork set up for something virtual reality like, you know what I mean? They've made the Nintendo Wii was groundbreaking technology. Still is. Still kind of their, I think, you know what I mean? I still think it's their best console. Aside from the Nintendo Switch, I guess the Nintendo Switch really was amazing. It's a great console. No doubting that. But I remember the Nintendo Wii, and that was just, to this day, it's still so much fun. It's still so hilarious to play. It's got great games on there, and just the mechanics by which you play are really virtual reality. You know, when you think about it, it's exactly how they get you to interact with virtual reality. It's like with the Nintendo Wii controller and the nunchucks to like play and like do stuff. It's basically the same idea, but instead of the TV being there, it's just the goggles, you know? And now with the Nintendo Switch 2, and they have like this camera feature, they'll probably have to set up a, whatchamacallit. They'll have to set up a sensor the same way as the Nintendo Wii. They have all the technology right there. It's just at their fingertips. It's just that the way that these virtual reality or these VR goggles work is like, everybody has like a patent, everybody's doing something different. And so Nintendo's gonna have to figure out a way to like, I don't know, make theirs different enough where it's originally theirs, but make it the same that everybody can use it like if they have another piece of virtual headset, you know what I mean? And who knows, maybe it'll come out as like its own console, or maybe just a whole separate device altogether, you know what I mean, before they... But that's why I feel like they would kind of attach it to like a Nintendo Switch or a Nintendo Switch 2. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it makes sense to attach it to something like that, as opposed to, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever, you know, but I don't know. I was interested in that. I thought that was a cool idea. And not to mention with all of the other games at their disposal, you know what I mean? Like, imagine you're playing The Legend of Zelda, right? And you're playing as Link, but instead of pressing a button to like swipe and slash, you just do it with the Wii controller in your hand, and you swipe and slash, and then you go onto your Nintendo Switch 2 and you can play it on there as well. Like, it's all connected, you know what I mean? You could put on the virtual headset and you can still see the screen. Everything's still the same as if you were playing on the Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo Switch 2, but you have like the Wii controller in your hand, and that's going to be the new way to play. That's going to be the new way to like, you can dual play that way, you know what I mean? You can swipe and slash and like cut the bad guys down with that one, or you could go onto your Nintendo Switch 2 and play it with a controller or with the Joy-Cons like you regularly would. Multiple ways to play, and that's the cool thing, is that you'll have multiple ways to play. And then not to mention the other like buttons on the console and the controller and stuff. So it's all really interesting to think about, that you would be in like that first person play mode, or maybe you would be in like you could change it to third person perspective, you know? Stuff like that is really interesting to me, and I think that's going to be the future of the direction that they want to go. And maybe for the other you know, gaming companies like Sony and Microsoft, and with Xbox and PlayStation, they might be they might be nearing that goal further because I think PlayStation already has like a VR setup and VR games and stuff. It's just a matter of like making it playable on two different ways to play it. You know what I mean? That kind of interface of it. But for me, I think it's a lot more plausible with the Nintendo because they already have the Nintendo Wii's already set them up for success. It's like you don't have to feel uncomfortable holding the Nintendo Switch 2 Joy-Con or a Nintendo Switch, a Nintendo Wii controller, and then the nunchuck, like two separate things because they've already set you up for that. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it's going to be a lot more interactive and it's going to be a lot more hands-on, you know what I mean? Stand up to play and slash and fight. Of course, it would get a little tiring after a while. Like, a game like The Legend of Zelda, you can sit down and play for like 7 hours straight. You know what I mean? 5 hours, however long, right? And it might get a little tiring to stand up and do it, like, I guess, like, fighting and slashing and whatnot for, like, forever. But it is, like, that, it is, like, you know, a really big aspect of the game is that, like, or a big draw for it is that you can stand up and play it. Which is why I think, like, the Wii Sports games and stuff like that, those are a lot more fun to, like, use and play and stuff. But we'll have to see. They're just in research and development on it now. I think they spent all of their resources on making the new console. And, I don't know. I guess this virtual reality stuff is where the goggles are, like, kind of are, like, it just takes time. You know what I mean? It's not going to be quick and easy. It's going to be like we're going to need years on this to make it perfect or to have any kind of like interaction with other games. And the reason why I'm playing Pokemon is because it made me think about the possibilities of like playing Pokemon as like the Pokemon itself, you know, or as the trainer. You get to make commands and you get to stand up, you get to throw Pokeballs, catch Pokemon, stuff like that, you know what I mean? It all seems a lot cooler to do it through VR as opposed to, you know, actually, like, just sitting down and playing with the controller. But that's why they offer both modes, right? You can play on the controller with your Joy-Con, or you can attach it with your VR, Nintendo VR, and you can play that way. You know what I mean? But they would have to make games that are exclusively compatible for that kind of a way, you know what I mean? If you have your VR headset, you can connect to the game. If not, you don't have to worry about it. So I guess that's where the future is, right? They have to get games that are... Well, I guess the Nintendo Switch 2 has to be compatible with the VR headset or whatever you have, you know what I mean? So we'll have to wait and see, but I was just thinking about that, and I thought that was a cool idea. It's an idea that I think should have been working... They should have been working on and put into production, but you know, these things take time. Nothing's perfect, so we'll have to wait and see. But I'm curious. What do you guys think about like a Nintendo VR headset? Do you guys think that's like a crazy idea? Do you think that's like a good idea? Do you think that if an idea like that were to come along, it would be like a big seller, or do you think it would kind of be like a little half-assed and kind of pulled back and like, they didn't do it right, and, you know, who knows if they're going to upgrade it and whatnot, so we'll have to wait and see, but I don't know, I'm curious about it, and if they're just getting into production on it now, I don't know, who knows? I guess maybe in time we'll actually get to see if that comes to life, but let me know what you think, and, yeah, I'll, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you.